Is Pat Houston responsible for the drowning of Whitney Houston, and the near drowning of her daughter Bobbi Kristina? Well, let's take a look at the situation and see. Her main accuser is the sister of Bobby Brown and Bobbi Kristina's aunt, Leola Brown. And Gerard Brown, Bobbi Kristina's estranged cousin. So why are they saying Pat Houston is involved in these drownings? What are their motives for accusing Pat Houston, who was one of Whitney Houston's longtime friend of over 22 years, and wife of Gary Houston, Whitney Houston's brother? Also, she was the one person that really appeared to help Whitney and daughter, career-wise. But her two accusers have never been known to help Whitney Houston, nor Bobbi Kristina with their career, on the same level as Pat Houston has. With her great business skills, she negotiated the highest record deal in history, of $100 million in 2001. Could they be jealous that they were never in the inner Houston circle, or could they be seeking attention for fame and money, with the help of talking to the media? On the other hand, Pat Houston's fame came from helping others, like how she helped Whitney Houston career and tried to start Bobbi Kristina's career as well. So let's address these accusations, starting with Leola Brown. Now with her, she first seemed to accuse someone and then throw Pat Houston in there somehow, but it was reported by websites like lipstickalley.com that stated that Leola Brown said that she needed to get paid in order to talk because she has news to tell. Like when Whitney Houston died, she went on several shows, and she said she suspected that Ray J played a part in Houston's death. Then she threw Pat in there and said Pat Houston was responsible too, saying that she should not have had Ray J around her, as if Pat could have stopped Whitney Houston from being friends with Ray J. Whitney Houston was a grown woman that chose her own friends, and Pat Houston was Whitney Houston's manager, not a babysitter or a prison guard. Then Leola Brown accuses Pat Houston for the reality show that came about after Whitney Houston's death. Leola failed to acknowledge that Pat Houston was not the only one that agreed to do the show. Leola failed to see that Whitney Houston's brother and mother, Gary and Cissy Houston, agreed to do the show as well. Instead, Leola scrutinized Pat Houston as if she has a personal vendetta against her. Leola claims that Pat Houston brought about the show so early after Whitney Houston's death. She accused Pat Houston for being so quick to get money, when Leola was trying to do the same thing that she was accusing Pat of. Leola was doing shows, airing dirty laundry for pay, but instead Leola Brown picks on Pat Houston, saying that she was so money hungry and so quick to do the reality show, instead of seeing it as survival, considering that she no longer had Whitney Houston. Leola Brown states that Pat Houston did not give Bobbi Kristina a chance to heal from the loss of her mother, but another thing that Leola Brown failed to realize is that Bobbi Kristina was a grown adult at the time that she agreed to do the show, and prior to that, she appeared on Oprah Winfrey 1 month after her mother's funeral, and following, Tyler Perry casted her on his show. But she did Oprah Winfrey and Perry's shows before the Houston's reality show came about. And Bobbi Kristina did agree to do these things. It's funny that Leola Brown does not speak on Oprah Winfrey or Tyler Perry having Bobbi Kristina come on their shows so soon after her mom's death. Nor does Leola Brown questions Bobbi Kristina's reasons for agreeing to do those shows so early. Instead, she accuses Pat without looking at the full picture. But wait a minute here. To me, it looked like keeping Bobbi Kristina in the spotlight was what she needed. It seems like, without watchful eyes over her, she began to change in a not so positive way. That could be seen from her head to her shoes that did not match, so it was actually good for Bobbi Kristina to be on the reality show. And it's too bad that the show did not continue for her to be working on something rather than nothing at all. So now, with the Bobbi Kristina tragedy, Leola Brown blames Nick Gordon for Bobbi Kristina's drowning, but, as before, she continues to mess with Pat Houston and include her in the blame for Bobbi Kristina's drowning, with no logical reason how. So now let's take a look at Jerrod Brown, Pat Houston's other accuser. The media has been alerted to disregard his sideshow antics, and the alert comes from Bobbi Kristina's father, Bobby Brown. Her father does not want him to represent his daughter in any form or fashion, but Jerrod continues to do so anyway, and draw attention to himself with a song and dance literally. He also is supporting Nick Gordon, who is being investigated for attempted murder of his cousin. Also, he co-signs with Leola Brown on accusing Pat Houston without reason except for Leola Brown's reason. Her reason is that Pat wants all the money. This is ridiculous because she has her own money. She even has her own business. I can give you 5 good reasons why Pat Houston was not involved in the Whitney and Bobbi Kristina drownings. Reason 1, Pat is not in Whitney Houston's will. Everything has been written off to Bobbi Kristina, and if she does not survive, then everything goes to Cissy Houston. If Cissy Houston passes away, then everything goes to the 4 or 5 other listed relatives on the will, which includes Gary Houston, Pat's husband. Reason number 2 is that Pat Houston has her own millions that she made with Whitney Houston. Also, Pat has business smarts of knowing how to generate more millions on her own. Reason number 3, Pat Houston has her own business, Marion P. Candles. Reason number 4, on the day Whitney Houston passed away, she was scheduled to do an infomercial for Pat's business, Marion P. Candles, but Whitney never made it to the set. And reason number 5 that proves Pat Houston has nothing to do with the drownings, is that, after the recent tragedy with Bobbi Kristina, she visits her to the care facility. Now Bobbi Kristina is on life support, breathing with the help of a ventilator machine. If Pat Houston wanted her dead, she would have pulled the plug by now, but she has not, because Pat Houston is not a murderer. She launched her business in 2011 without including Whitney Houston's name to endorse it, but she credits Whitney Houston as her inspiration. This is Gabby Ray Talker signing off. Remember to subscribe, and come follow me on Twitter too. Thanks for watching, bye bye.